A'ja Wilson walked onto a basketball court and did something that no one had done in the 30-year history of the WNBA, and that is she became the fastest player ever to reach 6,000 career points.
When you hear things like that at this point, what's going through your mind?
God is great. He's unbelievable. He works in so many different ways, and I'm glad that he is able to cover me and guide me. And this team is amazing. Like, the little things that they do, they show up every single day ready to work, and I can't ask for a better team to do that with.
What's the work that we don't see that allows you to achieve milestones like this?
The days when I don't feel like it, you still got to do it. That's when it takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work. You got to do things on days that you may not be feeling great. You still got to show up and be great.
The record previously belonged to Diana Taurasi, widely considered the greatest scorer in WNBA history. This is what her coach had to say about her afterwards, and I'm going to quote her. "It feels like she's breaking a record every day, so you almost lose track of them." Here's a woman who's arguably the greatest player in the history of this sport. She just broke a 30-year-old record. And you didn't hear a lot about it. And so why is that? Who decides who gets our full attention? I want to make sure A'ja Wilson is getting her flowers. The pattern that I have been noticing is Black women achieving at the highest level, and we're still finding something else to talk about. But we're going to talk about A'ja Wilson today.
What keeps you driven and motivated, and what are you trying to accomplish now moving forward?
I like proving people wrong. I like to kind of like let people just burn because me and my team are doing great, or they never could have imagined it would have been me in this situation or my team in this situation.
A'ja Wilson has 4 MVP awards. She is the only player in WNBA history with 4. She has 3 championships, 2 Olympic gold medals. She has broken scoring milestone records at every level. Fastest to 4,500, 5,000, and now 6,000. And at each milestone, the mainstream conversation had to be dragged to acknowledge it. Why, for greatness at this level, in this league, for this woman, why does it have to fight for the recognition that it deserves? And with that question, I want to talk about her story, how she got here, her parents, her pivotal relationship with Dawn Staley being at South Carolina. And I want us to really see what were the steps that she took to get to this point. She's about to hit her dirty 30s. Her birthday is August 8th. She was born in Hopkins, South Carolina. This is a small town outside of Columbia. And the first thing that I think everybody needs to know is that none of her story was guaranteed. That's Dad, Roscoe. And let me tell you a little bit about this story. So her dad, Roscoe, believed in A'ja, believed in her even as a basketball player before anybody else did. He used to take A'ja to Dawn Staley's basketball camp when A'ja was around 12 or 13 years old. And Roscoe would try to get Staley's attention and tell her about his daughter. And so let me tell you what Dawn Staley's own assessment of a young A'ja Wilson was at that camp. And this is a direct quote, "A'ja was good at everything but basketball." Okay? She was tall. I don't even think basketball was in the forefront of her mind. End quote. I want us to sit with that for just a second, because when the great Dawn Staley says, yeah, she's good at everything but basketball, and then later she becomes this great basketball player, it just tells you that something can be in you and everybody doesn't see it, and it can still come out of you, right? So that's the lesson right there. So the father saw something in his daughter that the world had not yet even confirmed. He made her stay in the room. He kept making her show up until her skill caught up with the potential. By the time Asia reaches her senior year of high school, she was one of the top recruits in the country. She had over 500 scholarship offers. The powerhouses came calling. Now, South Carolina was on the list, but it was not her first choice. And this is where you gotta love a black mom. Her mother stepped in. And so what happened was when Asia told her mom she was thinking about going somewhere else, her mother said, and I quote, "If you don't want to go to South Carolina, you're going to have to call Dawn Staley, a black woman, yourself, and tell her you're not coming." And Asia said on the All the Smoke podcast, when you put it like that, right? And she went to South Carolina. And I just want us to hit pause right there for just a moment, because sometimes the role of the parent is almost like you're carrying, you're pushing, you're cajoling, you're nudging, you're doing all these things to get your child in the race that you know that they can win, but you got to get them in the race first. Asia's mother understood that when a black woman in a position of power opens a door for you, you don't walk past it. And black women looking out for black women. And it changed everything. So let's talk a little bit about what happens when Asia arrives at the University of South Carolina in 2014. Under Coach Dawn Staley, it transformed her from a top recruit into something the women's basketball world had never seen. She became the first South Carolina player to win the National Player of the Year award, first 4-time All-American in program history, first 3-time SEC Player of the Year in conference history, the program's all-time leader in career points with 2,389, and career blocks with 363. Her career averages while she's at South Carolina: 17.3 points, 8.7 rebounds, 2.6 blocks per game on 55% shooting. And this is just years before Dawn was like, yeah, she ain't even into basketball. Now, there has been a big argument. Should we with NIL? Should we not with NIL? Has NIL gone too far? And I dug up this clip with Asia and Matt Barnes from All the Smoke.
What kind of damage could you have done in college with the NIL?
What?
Huh.
What?
Talking about Rolls Royce.
What? Chinchilla. I'm showing up to the game. I'm showing up to the game.
Like Frank Lucas, huh?
What? With a cane, headcock to the side. Like, oh no, I'm here. And at the end of the game, if y'all want me to sign something, it's $100 out back.
Yeah, talk that shit.
Hustle, like, what?
She's basically saying that's how much money she would have received because of how good and how talented she was with NIL. The crown jewel of her collegiate career came in the 2016-2017 season. She led the Gamecocks to the program's first national championship, defeating Mississippi State 67-55. Asia Wilson finished the game with 23 points and 10 rebounds and was named most outstanding player of the tournament. And what I really want to underscore here is that this championship didn't just change her life, it changed an entire program. And it also changed the region's relationship with women's basketball. This was the program's first national championship. When people are recruited and they have the power to change an entire program, that's what Asia Wilson was doing in college. I'm going to show you an image that really shows the level of appreciation that the University of South Carolina has for her. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is her own statue on the campus of the University of South Carolina. And let me explain to you how monumental this is. On January 18th, 2021, 7 years after she first touched down on campus, the University of South Carolina unveiled a statue of Asia Wilson on campus. It is the first statue of a woman on USC's campus, and only one of 3 statues on campus representing an individual. And again, this feat occurred when she was 24 years old. In 2018, she gets drafted by the Las Vegas Aces. She's the first top overall pick. So 8 seasons in, and this is what the record book looks like. WNBA Rookie of the Year 2018. WNBA MVP 2020, 2022, 2023, 2024, also 2025. The 2024 MVP was unanimous, and it was the first unanimous MVP since Cynthia Cooper in 1997, the league's inaugural season. She has 3 WNBA championships with the Las Vegas Aces, 2 Olympic gold medals with Team USA, 2020 Tokyo and 2024 Paris. Now, the 2024 USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year, her 3rd time winning the award. And in 2025, she was named the first ever WNBA Co-Defensive Player of the Year alongside Alana Smith. When Asia Wilson announced her Nike signature shoe in 2024, she did it the way only she could. This particular shoe was inspired by her sorority. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. This is why this particular shoe is pink and green. And this is a Black woman's sorority, and she is paying homage to her sorority. It is something of a giving back and an acknowledgement and an association and a sisterhood. This is why we love this woman. What does her shirt say? Of course, I have a shoe.com. The website was real and it redirected to Nike's announcement page. Okay. She's always authentic, unapologetically. A Black woman athlete finally receiving the full creative and commercial investment that she earned. And the market answered immediately. So let's just rewind the tape. Young Black woman from Hopkins, South Carolina, who at 12 years old, a future Hall of Fame coach said she was good at everything but basketball. Now, on the campus, permanently in bronze, we have a statue of her as one of the defining figures in its history. This is how big Asia Wilson is, and this is why it needs to be talked about